Hey there. Recording this video as a test just to see if this will work with this microphone here. I'll put it in my shirt. Or maybe I should just put it in my ear. Okay. That way maybe the sound will be better. So I'm going to the airport, or just went to the airport. Chris is going to Columbia, Missouri, flying into St. Louis, so he'll be there through Friday. I'm going to be going home. I have to get a shower because I just threw out my hair in a bunch of pins in a ponytail, and I have to get ready. Well, it's 1:35. I have a meeting. Oh, excuse me. Meeting at the library for the Genealogy Society board. There's a committee, and we are revising our bylaws. So I just got called into that, and then after that, the society is actually having 2 consecutive meetings. One is a special interest group for DNA for genealogy, and the other one is our first tech group where patrons can come in if they have questions about their computers, their genealogy software program, just anything related to genealogy where there might be a need for some assistance, and it's kind of an open floor. So I think I'm going to go to that one. And that's 6 o'clock tonight for a couple hours. So this is the pace that we have sustained for just such a long time. I think Chris has been going back and forth to the DC area in Virginia, close to the DC area for the last 5 or 6 weeks. It's been pretty fast paced. Sometimes he comes home just for a weekend, does a quick turn, and goes back. So poor guy's not getting any rest. And work is high stress. What was that word that he used to describe it the other day? I was talking to someone else, and I was like, yes, it's a word that means it never lets up. It's incessant, but that's not the word. I think he was talking to his mother, actually. But yeah, it's just been, and I'm such a sensitive, empathic person that I pick up on everything he's going through to a fault, to where I'm absolutely exhausted most of the time. And I know it's because I feel this tension, because he actually works from home sometimes when he's been working all weekend when he has been home. He worked Friday night, or was it Saturday night, until 2 in the morning, and then had another call from 7 to 9 in the morning. So, it's just been ridiculous. But I am around that energy, and I sense it, and I don't know how he does it. I don't think if I were in his role that I could cope with the amount of stress he's under. So, anyway, that's such a downer. But, yeah. But I have been getting stuff done at the house. I have a huge project I've been working on. I actually took a class a couple of years ago, and I started this project, and then I had put it down for various reasons. And I needed to pick it back up. It's for someone's birthday in November. So I picked it up, I finished it, and I'll probably do another video on it. That's why I'm not giving much detail about it. What else has been going on? I've been working on a lot of projects for the society that are kind of require mental concentration. So those are predominant. What else? Oh, one of the big things that's occurred to me, I've been going through, I think, a transition. And my guess is that maybe I'm close to perimenopause, because I feel sort of different on the inside, if that makes sense. I did go through a period of the blues, which I think was my hormones maybe fluctuating, and my naturopath, I put off going to a doctor because I had an upcoming appointment with my naturopath, and he told me that my testosterone was low, so I guess that could be a contributor to how I was feeling. But I still have my cycles, so, and it's funny, almost every older female that I know has had a hysterectomy or something where they don't go through menopause. So I'm like, there's not really many people I can talk to, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, did you experience this, or what's going on? So that's why I'm talking about it, is, I think I'm starting to go through the change, and I don't even know what to do. But it's not a bad thing. It's just a change. So There was a book written, Goddesses Never Age. There's an author. I listen to Hay House Radio every night as I'm going to sleep. And there's an author, gosh, I can't remember her name because she's usually not on at that hour that, or, the nighttime hours that I would go to bed. But I have heard her like waking up in the middle of the night if I didn't turn it off or something. Christiane Northrup, maybe, or it may not be, but I think that's who it is. But she wrote a book, Goddesses Never Age, and on one segment she was talking about, there was a caller who called in and said, I feel like I'm sort of grieving. She was going through menopause or perimenopause, and she said, I feel like I'm kind of grieving, like there's this loss. And I had kind of experienced that feeling for a period of time, that it's an end of a, when you're menstruating, you're ripe for having babies, creating family, having children. You're ripe like a fruit that's ripe. But when you are no longer fertile, when that age of menstruation is over, I would think, because I'm not there yet, but I would think that you grieve. It's like a part of you is dying. In fact, your uterus pretty much quits functioning as it should, and your ovaries and all that. So I would think that in your mind they kind of die because they're no longer providing that purpose that they once did. Your menstruation stops. So that's something, oh my God, I started my menstrual cycle the week of the 4th of July when I turned 12. And it's funny, my daughter started her menstrual cycle the week of the 4th of July when she turned 12. Isn't that weird? But I've been menstruating for decades. So when that just stops, I think I'm going to feel something's over. Something's ended. And sure, we all complain about our menstrual cycle and how it can be painful, it's a nuisance, it's messy, and all these bad things. But in truth, that's the one thing that allows you to procreate. When that's over, it's over. It's an ending. So I could totally relate to this caller who said she was grieving. It's kind of like, I recall at times in my life when someone, I guess it was like the end of a relationship. It's like the end of the fairy tale. It's like a divorce, in the case of a divorce, because of betrayal. That can be totally a time to grieve, not just because your marriage has ended or whatever, and the feeling of betrayal that you have to overcome, but that whole sense of the fairy tale that we have been brought up to believe in, the Walt Disney, the Prince Charming, they live happily ever after, you're going to grow up and have a husband and children and life is going to be wonderful, and then all of a sudden it abruptly ends. I think part of that a woman has to overcome in that situation is grieving the fairy tale. Grieving that it's been so hyped up all through our childhood, and the wedding and the white dress and the, all that stuff that we aspire to hit those milestones throughout our life. And then if that abruptly ends, there is a grieving process for the dead fairy tale. And that's why that's so hard. And I've watched women. I was in a part of a group or a circle that helped a lot of people. It was a healing circle, and that often came up, and I could see the women in their sorrow. They'd be pissed at the ex-husband, so that was part of it, was anger, but there was often a very deep, brutal sadness that took a long time to overcome. So anyway, I've felt the blues lately. I still have my cycle. My last visit with my gynecologist was fine. I've done my mammogram, fine. But I wonder if I went to my general practitioner, my GP doctor, what she would say if I should get my hormones tested or something like that. I've never experienced depression or deep sorrow, like clinical, where I would need to get on medication type of thing. So I'm not even sure what that feels like. But I did go through a couple of days where I was so, like nothing around me stimulated the fact that I should be sad, but I was just blue, very blue. I was on the phone with Chris, he was gone, and he said something. I was so happy because, this is a funny story. It doesn't take much to lift me up, and I have had hummingbird feeders in my back porch over the years, and I wait for this time of year, and the hummingbird will fly up to where the feeder once was and look for it, and if it's not there, I can see them from where I sit in the living room through the window, and I'm like, oh, they're back. So I'll go out and put the hummingbird feeder up. Well, I had a bird feeder up in its place because, I took the hummingbird feeder down. I put a regular feeder up for other birds with seed in it. And there is I don't know if you can see fog around me. There is a truck up here whose bed has dirt in it or something. And as he's going down the road, there's like all of this stuff is lifting up from the back of inside his truck. Does it look foggy outside? I'm like behind him. I think I'm going to get over while I can. Maybe you'll see it behind me as I go past him. Yep, it's an oversized load. Hang on a minute. Let me get past this guy. So we're slowing down for a light. There he is. Yep, oversized load. Okay. I forget where I was. What was I saying? Hold on. I'm in a bit of traffic, so I'm trying to concentrate here. Oh, my hummingbird. So the hummingbird came up, but I already had other birds accustomed to the feeder that was up in its place, so I had to find a solution to hang both. So I went on Amazon. I actually have Amazon Prime, and I ordered this little clamp that it's a swing arm that swivels, and it hangs out over your deck, but it clamps onto the deck railing, and you just hang the hummingbird feeder from it, and then when you want to, I swear, it is so hot here. My phone is mounted to a sticky thing on my windshield, and it gets so hot. I'm trying to press it real hard on there. It gets so hot that the thing just melts off. Interesting. Now I'm all crooked, but oh well, I'm driving, so I'm not going to mess with it. You'll just have to watch me crooked. So I got this through Amazon Prime, and with some other items that I purchased, I qualified for same-day shipping. And I was like, oh, this is good. So I waited, and within, before the end of the day, this thing came in the mail. I set it up on the porch, hung the hummingbird feeder on it, and I came out of that feeling blue, and I was so excited because the hummingbirds were now starting to feed from it. And I swiveled it to where one bird feeder was like in this line of sight, and the other hummingbird feeder was here, so I could look through the window while I was sitting on my spot on the couch, and I could see both bird feeders, and it was just, that was just uplifting to me. It's the little things. Okay, people, what are we doing? So anyway, I was so excited about that, and I had been feeling so blue. That was the weekend that was really, I had a hard time. And so I talked to Chris that night, and I told him, guess what? I ordered this thing from Amazon Prime, and it came same day, because we've never taken advantage of any of that. It was the first time I got something the same day, even though we've had Prime for a long time. I guess certain things qualify and other things don't. So I told him about it, and he quite often is initially a pessimist because he thinks in terms of preventing bad things from happening. So before he could even see it or look at it, he's like, oh no, you didn't get one of those. You put it on the deck railing, it's gonna pivot the railing out, alter the level of the railing. Oh God, and he got upset on the phone because he's stressed out too from his work. He could just see that I'm going to ruin the deck railing because I'm putting this weighty thing on there. And I blew up, and I never yell at Chris, that doesn't happen, because we always talk things through. And I said, you haven't even seen it yet, blah blah blah, and I hung up the phone. Yep, I hung up on my husband. I was that pissed And I didn't want to have to hear someone tell me that something that I thought brought me so much joy, I just didn't want to hear it. So I hung up on him. So he tries to call me back. And I was so infuriated by his insensitivity that I didn't pick up the phone. I didn't talk to him the rest of the night. And the next morning he tried to call me and he left me a very sweet message. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, flown off. I've just been under a lot of stress, blah, 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 which then I felt bad for him, Anyway, so yeah, I just really felt like that weekend, it must have been hormonal. I've never really felt so blue when nothing was really affecting me. Nothing occurred that put me in the doldrums. I didn't have a bad day. I was like home by myself. Of course I miss my husband, but that I'm kind of used to that now. So that wasn't really, it couldn't have set me off to such a low. But yeah, so I feel like I'm about to be going through the change. So leave a comment for me if this is something that you experience, that you're familiar with, that you might have some advice. And I may even put like a survey up here in one of the corners. I think it's this corner where I ask you if you have experienced this, yes or no type of thing. Just because, like I said, I don't really have anyone that I can call and ask about these kinds of things. And also, what have you done about it? Is there I don't really want to get on a medication. You guys know how I feel about drugs, pharmaceuticals. If there's a natural something, I'd be curious to know. But yeah, that's been going on. Oh, funny story. I went into this quilting shop because I've been doing a little bit of quilting and interested in researching some future quilts. And I'm just a beginner. I had one quilting class, but it was for a particular technique. So, but I am an experienced sewer. I had my own drapery workroom. So yeah, I know how to sew pretty well. I just haven't done quilts. So quilting and apparel and home decor are 3 different kinds of sewing. They're all sewing, but there are different skills that you need for each. So I cannot sew apparel. I can do pretty easy mending or slight alterations, and I've made things from a pattern, but I would not consider myself that kind of seamstress. Anyway, so I was in this quilt shop, and I had been the weekend before, asking questions and looking at stuff, and then I took something in to get quilted because I just do the top piecing. I don't actually quilt it, running the stitching through all the layers. So I'm paid someone to have it quilted, but I was in to pick it up and to look at some other new design ideas. And the 2 ladies that were in there, it was kind of close to closing, and they were all alone. I was the only customer in there, so we were pretty chatty. And I told them I'm a beginner quilter. I haven't done this before, and they're saying, well, don't do that one because that's a little bit more advanced, but this one you could do. Especially they knew that they saw the work that I did and said, wow, we couldn't believe you were a beginning quilter. I said, well, I have a lot of sewing experience. I said, oh, okay, well, that means all your points matched up and everything, which is not very common, I guess, for beginners. But I had been chatting with them and blah blah blah, and I said I was looking into possibly making wedding quilts because all 3 of our girls have gotten married now, and probably the 2 boys will be married eventually. And I need to get started because I'm 3 behind, essentially, and that's what I wanted to do for all of our kids. And then I'll start on grandchildren quilts. But anyway, I was talking to them, and they looked at me and they're like, "You have three daughters that have gotten married?" And I said, "Yeah." And one said, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were newlywed age, I thought you were 28. And I lost it. I laughed out loud. I've had people tell me I look young, but I looked at her and I was like, oh my gosh, 2 of my daughters are older than 28. I said, I'm 48. And they were speechless. And then they were like, oh my gosh, you are kidding me. And one of them says, wow, your skin looks so good for being 48. I never would have imagined that you were that age. And I said, really? And I took my glasses off, and I was like, even today, I said, I'm not wearing any makeup, so I feel like I don't look good. I don't wear makeup a lot of times, but usually when I go out, if I'm going to go talk to people, or like my meeting today, I'll probably put something on my face, but just driving my husband to the airport, no. So I was like, oh wow, that's nice. I think it's genes. I do take care of my skin, and I don't wear a lot of different products on my face, and I treat my skin gently. So I don't know if it's something I'm doing. Oh gosh, there we go again. Hang on. I don't know if it's something I'm doing, or I'm gonna have to get one of these things that clamp your phone in and not stick it on, because if you live in Georgia in the South, this thing ain't working. Okay, I'm still pressing it on again. Anyway, I was completely flattered. Completely flattered. 28. Wow. That's nice. I hope when I'm 68, I look 48. Or maybe when I'm 80, I'll look 60. It's very nice. Very nice feeling. Anyway, I guess that's it. I'm still driving home. I'll probably be home in another 30 minutes or so. And then I'm going to take a shower, get cleaned up, put a little makeup on, and get my papers of the bylaws printed out, and all of my, I made modifications to them, what I would see as things we could change. So I got to get all that prepared and then drive to the library. So I'll check in soon. Again, bye. Okay, I'm back in the car again. I got home. I had to eat something because I'm going to be at the library from 4 until 8 o'clock, and I really should eat. So I had something to eat, and then I decided with the time that I had, I only had like an hour. So by the time I ate, I had like a half an hour. I had to get my papers ready for the meeting, and then I didn't have time for a shower, like, and to dry my hair, and I put a little bit of makeup on, my eyes a little bit, just to look a little pulled together, and I did my nails. This is I think it's a Sally Hansen Insta Dry polish, and I think it's a mauve, but there's another word in there, so I want to say like moody mauve or something, and it's got a little shimmer in it, but you can't really see it. Hard to do this in drive, so I'm just gonna pay attention. So I'm headed to the library now. I remembered 2 things. 1, I need to get a library card. I live in Georgia, and oh gosh, I'm still getting my allergy shots. My nose is itchy right now. I just had my allergy shots on Monday, and today is Tuesday, or yesterday, I guess. I don't even know what day it is. Today's Tuesday, and my nose is itchy, so excuse me if my voice changes too. I had one lady lean over the table to talk to me after the board meeting, and she was talking to me about something, about these bylaws we're revising, and she looked at me and she's like, what is going on? And I thought she was talking about like something I did. And I was like, I don't know what you mean. She says, up here. Like, and I thought she meant mentally what is going on with me. And she said, you sound really stuffy. And I said, oh, I'm getting allergy shots. And that explained it. But the way she said it was like, what is going on? I thought, oh, what have I done? She totally was talking about hearing in my voice like I was sinusy or plugged up, and I don't even hear that anymore. I mean, you might hear it. I'm sorry if I keep touching my nose, but I'm like dying here. Anyway, 2 things I forgot. One thing is I need to renew my library card because I live in Georgia. If you let it lapse or don't use it for a while, you have to go in to reinstate it, and I like never go to the library anymore. I'm such a digital reader now. But in Georgia, there is not a state library. There is a Georgia State Library Service, which is many of the counties in the state participate in this service to where they have digital collections. So it's called, use an app called Overdrive. You may be familiar with it. I'm not sure if other states' libraries call it the same thing, but it's basically borrowing digital books from your library. And so I can't use my Overdrive if I don't have a current library card. I can't check out books. So yeah, so I need to do that while I'm at the library. God, I hope I remember. And then the second thing is that my husband, Chris, today is celebrating an anniversary. He started working for the company that he works for 32 years ago today. So he will be starting tomorrow, will be starting into his 33rd year, which I find absolutely phenomenal. I'm a little bit jealous of people that have decided like right out of college or had an internship in college like he did, where you knew what you wanted to do, you went into it, and then you're still doing that career. And the longevity just amazes me. He's just a hard worker, dedicated, loves his people that he works with, and I'm just so proud of him. So that's, to me, that's a huge, huge milestone. I don't think I've done anything in my life for 32 years. So and congratulations to my husband, Chris. Yeah, so that was what I remembered. Anything else? No. I know some of you realize that I'm into genealogy. Chris and I are actually teaching a genealogy, co-teaching a genealogy class together at the local university here. And tomorrow, we usually co-teach, meaning he does like a segment and then I do a segment, and we bounce off each other and we, play together. It's just a really good program that we created. And he's gone. So he did he has a 2-part class on libraries and repositories, and he did that yesterday, and so it's a Monday, Wednesday class. And so tomorrow I'm on my own. I'm going to teach immigration and naturalization and getting organized. So I have 2 modules tomorrow, and then that's the end. It's a 6-week class, Monday, Wednesday from 12 to 2:30. And it's for the it's called the program for seniors. So like we teach the 55 and over crowd. So this time, I don't know if it's just August. We've had up to 30 people in the class before. This time we had 6. So I think it maybe was just the timing of the year. We've only been doing it for a couple of years now. Nighttime classes are awesome. They fill up pretty quickly, but then there are some seniors that don't want to drive at night. So October we're doing I think it's a Tuesday, Thursday class, but it'll be an evening program, so like 6 to 9. And what's nice about it is that everybody in the class, I don't even think I need these sunglasses right now. It looks like it's about to rain. Everybody in the class is sitting at their own computer station. So they have Windows PCs, and we actually talk them through some of the sites that we use. We use Ancestry.com. Many people don't know that you can use Ancestry.com at an institution like the college. They have a library subscription. So you can use Ancestry.com at your local library, not at home with your library card access. Sorry about that. I got a phone call, and I've never been recording when I received a phone call. So I picked up the phone, and then it went back to video, and it didn't continue recording. So I had to figure that out. At any rate, I was talking about Ancestry.com. If you're interested, you can access the library edition of Ancestry.com, which is a worldwide records, access to world records at your local library, at a state archives. Some genealogy and historical societies have their own subscription, so you just have to check around. But if you're there, you can access records. You can print them to a printer or bring your thumb drive and have the digital copy, and you don't need a subscription. The only thing you can't do is build your tree on the site and save it. I mean, you can't build a tree, and there would be no way to save it. And then you can't interact with other people that have subscriptions, send messaging back and forth type of thing. But yes, you can access Ancestry.com without a subscription. Colleges and universities also have usually purchase the library edition. So yeah, so we teach them to use that because you can use it there at the college, and then if they go to their local library and have a patron card, they can use the library's computers. And also we talk about FamilySearch.org, which is always free. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormon Church, genealogy website. And it has to do with their faith as to why they research their ancestors, but it's open to the public, so you don't even have to be a Mormon just to go there, create an account. You can you can search all their records. You can build a tree on there, although I do it, but I always caution people that if you build a tree on Family Search, it's a collaborative tree, so people can go in and merge your people with their people. It's not always accurate, and it's not your standalone work. It can be edited by others. So that's my precaution. But I do put my tree up there because it's cousin bait. So other people researching the same people as you might stumble across you and find out that you share a common ancestor, and then you can share your research. So yeah, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but I'm driving and I have time to talk. So I think I'm going to have to use my nasal spray because I'm having an allergy attack. This is what happens. My nose just... Georgia. Great. Georgia is the worst state in the country for allergy sufferers. Like the worst. And I live here. I never had allergies growing up. I grew up in New Hampshire. I have to do this when I get there. I grew up in New Hampshire. Never had allergies. Moved to Georgia when I was 12. Went over and I lived in Colorado, in Colorado Springs. I lived in Germany. I came back home and I had the worst allergies ever. So I think even though I may have acclimated to Georgia at one time, once I moved out of the country and came back, no, my whole system, I think, reset itself, and I'm now just miserable. So it's gotten to the point where I have shots. It's hard to do videos when you're congested, but I try, so I'm sorry if it offends anybody or bothers you. What else? I guess that's it for now. I'll be going to the library, doing this meeting, and then my second meeting there, which fortunately they're both at the same place. And then I'll check back with you soon. Bye. Hi there, I'm back. I'm at the library parking lot. My meeting just ended. My 2 meetings. I've been talking for the last 3.5 hours, and I forgot to bring my water bottle in. I am so parched. Like, my mouth is dry. And I have like a liquid lipstick on, which is needing the balm on top. It's like sticky. Anyway, my brain is dead. We just went over the revision of the bylaws, and oh my god. In fact, I bugged out of my second meeting a half an hour early because I'm just like, I'm tired, and a lot of friends were there, and I don't want to get roped into going to dinner because I don't want to have to make excuses because I'm exhausted, and I'm not hungry now, but I know I'm going to be hungry. There's absolutely no food in the house. I have literally not had time to go get groceries, so I don't even know, like, when I get hungry tonight, what I'm going to eat. Probably tuna fish, because that's literally on the pantry shelf. Like, I'm in desperate need of going grocery shopping. Oh, I wanted to show you this thing. See how my light's green. See how my seatbelt is riding up toward my neck here? My whole thing here is kind of... Let me get myself situated. There we go. I want you to be able to hear me. That's why I have this mic up here for the earbuds. There we go. A nice, perfect timing yellow light. Okay, so I'm kind of big-chested. I have this lousy blouse on. And my seatbelt rides up and cuts my neck. Not cuts it, but it irritates my neck right here. And so I found this thing on Amazon. It's by Bell. It looks like this, and it's got 2 slots. One is for the lap belt, and then you clip the cross belt into one side. So I'll put it on, and I'm going to pull this one down and slip it in the upper clip. And basically you slide it from right to left across your tummy, and it makes the intersection of the 2 belts more on your tummy than down on your right side. I guess it'd be opposite if you're in the UK. But look how it's just taken that belt and taken it off of my neck. So I love this thing. It comes in a 2-pack, and I think I'll put a link in the description bar so you can actually just link to it. I had a 2-pack, and my mother-in-law was riding with us once, and she kept complaining about the seat belt. And I said, oh, well, I have this clippy thing, and I just gave it to her. I said, I love this thing. I swear by it. Like, when we're in a rental car, I absolutely oh my gosh, I should have put that thing in my purse. But knowing me, I would leave it in the rental car and then miss it. So, yeah, let me get some more water. I'm glad my meetings are over. I really dread lately when I have something on the calendar. Does that make sense? I really dread interruptions to my, I guess it's my age. I don't know why, but I've talked to my dad about it, who's 84, and I'm like, I really like kind of doing my thing at home. I have my routines, like going shopping on a certain day of the week, or I have my board meeting once a month in my genealogy class I teach. But when there's some other activity, like I enjoy seeing family, or if there's a bridal shower, baby shower, wedding, anything like that. It's fun to see people. Oops, those are my sunglasses. But most of the time I stay home in my comfortable clothes or my shorts, and tank tops, lots of times braless. Like, I'm comfortable, flip-flops, hair up in a ponytail, and no makeup on. And then I think, I'm not a makeup person anymore. I put it on when I go out or when I'm filming, because, that's why makeup was made, was for models and photographs, because your skin can look really transparent. But honestly, I don't like putting makeup on. And then when I'm putting makeup on, I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to take my makeup off now. Like later in the day when I come home, I'm thinking already to the fact that, I'm going to have to take the time to take the makeup off. And I wear like waterproof mascara, so I have to have this oily makeup remover. And just like, I'm kind of over it. feel like some stuff is just, is it worth it? I'm really gearing towards minimalism. I spend a lot of my time looking at videos online about minimalists and minimalism, and it used to be that I would look at organizing, and my favorite YouTubers were the organizing gurus, and the more I was taking what I already own and trying to make it neat, categorized, orderly, I kept thinking, really my main problem is there's just too much of what I own. I just own too much. And so this whole time that I really haven't been publishing videos, I've been going, as I said earlier, through this internal transition, but a lot of what I'm thinking about too is my lifestyle. I remember the first time when I was newly married, and you don't have a lot of stuff, you don't have furniture, you want the house, you need the car, then you want a bigger house and you need a second car, and then you start collecting things, and then I got married to someone who already had 4 kids, and so there were 5 kids in the house, and it's like, I need to save this, I need to buy paper towels in bulk. I was just acquiring, and my thought was, what if one of the kids needs something? It would be nice to have it in the house. What if we were to run out of something? Well, better buy it in bulk. Plus, the whole idea of you buy something in bulk and you save more money. Whoops, there goes my sunglasses. And believe me, with 7 people in the house, you definitely want to save money. And that was a consideration. So now it's just my husband and I in the house, and we're empty nesters, and we don't need 12 rolls of paper towels as a backup. It took me a long time, believe it or not, to stop buying that way, because it had become such a part of my process and my thought that it took me a long time to really feel comfortable with the fact that, with the idea that I can do without. I don't need to be so prepared. I'm not so concerned if we run out of Band-Aids and my husband or I get a cut, versus when it's your child, you wouldn't want to even have the thought that you wouldn't be able to care for them when they need you. So it's been this whole mental, different ways of thinking that I've really come to terms with, just the idea of having less. I've been working on that. I think I've talked in previous videos of the fact that I've always had a perpetual Goodwill bin in the garage. It's just a laundry basket, but it lives in the garage, and if I come across something that we no longer needed or wanted, or the kids outgrew it, or they had a toy they weren't playing with anymore, or that kind of thing, I always wanted to give back to those who were less fortunate, and I chose Goodwill as my donation spot. And I would go there quite often. Whenever the basket got full, I would take the stuff to Goodwill. And I still do that to this day. But mine is more of a mindful reduction. And, you know, I read books about downsizing. That's part of the process is instead of just organizing what I have, you have to downsize to become a minimalist. So there's some concepts and methods that you can use from that kind of thought, that you're going from maybe a large house to a small apartment, or in my case, your kids all grew up and you're now an empty nester. The same principles apply. But then, you know, I've really worked hard in my kitchen to get rid of the rice cooker, for example. I cook rice on the stove. I don't need, we don't eat rice daily, which I think would justify having your own designated rice cooker appliance. But really, as rarely as we eat rice, to cook it on the stove is not a big deal. You just use a pot with a lid. So I didn't really need a rice cooker, but you know, why in the world did I buy that in the first place? Just yesterday, my husband, you know, when he eats apples, we have one of those circular things with the wedges in blades, so you just press it onto the apple and it cuts all of the wedges for you, cuts the apple into wedges. And I had another one, it's almost identical but a little bit larger, and it does not come flush with the counter, and that is for making your own fried onion. And here in the States, there's a restaurant called Outback, which is a steakhouse, and they serve this fried onion with some dip, and it's called an Awesome Blossom. And I just thought that was so good. So, you know, I, for one, was very prone to buy kitchen gadgets. That was one of my weaknesses. Some people have shoes, some people have purses, some people clothing or makeup. I am definitely an office supply or pen person, pen and stationery, or gadgets. Electronics, camera equipment, kitchen gadgets. And I bought one of these Awesome Blossom or Bloomin' Onion. There's two competing restaurants that they call them two different things. And I thought, wow, I can make these at home? So I bought one. Why? I made it once, I think, and it was so much mess. And I wouldn't say it was work, but, you know, if I can just go to the restaurant and buy one, why would I go through all the trouble of this flour and dipping this and just all the oil it took to fry the thing, which you then had to dispose of? I mean, it really was not worth it. So just yesterday, my husband went to go cut an apple, and he said, which one of these things do I use? And I said, well, it's the one that doesn't come flush with the surface. He said, why do we have this other one here? We don't even ever make these onion things. And I said, you know what? You're right. And I took it out of the drawer and I put it in the Goodwill bin. You know, that's kind of how I work. But had I been through the drawer with the intention of going through it to specifically pull out anything that wasn't being used or it wasn't needed, maybe that had been done a long time ago. But that's kind of how I've been doing it, is just when I come across something in the house like that hasn't been used, well, then I'll just put it in the container for Goodwill. My clothes, I've really changed my mind about the quality of clothes that I'm wearing. I used to get clothes that I could afford with 7 people in the house. I don't like buying clothes. I don't like clothes shopping. I'm not a fashionista. I wear mostly what's comfortable. So I'm not a shopaholic, especially when it comes to clothes. I don't like malls, so even when I do buy clothes, it's somewhere outside of the mall usually. But when Chris started going up to Virginia to work, I think I mentioned there was a Nordstrom rack, and I started going there and realizing that the quality of the clothes was much nicer. The way they drape on the body, the way that the fabric feels on your skin, the way they color keeps when they're washed, or even just some of the design details. It's just so much nicer. So I started shopping a little bit more at Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack. So I'm weeding out a lot of my clothes that are not as good a quality, and I'm buying less clothes. But when I do buy clothes because I need a black pair of pants, say, then I'm investing in a better pair. So I just arrived home and my neighbor's walking outside. I'm going to go head in the house, and I don't think I'm going to eat yet, but I'll continue this vlog later. Hey guys, well, I just finished cleaning up. I made myself some pot stickers for dinner. I talked with Chris on the phone and kind of got settled in back at home. I'm pretty tired. It's 11 o'clock. So I'm gonna go take my makeup off my face and get ready for bed. I'm probably gonna read a little bit on my Kindle. I'm thinking about doing a favorites video, and I know I haven't been doing these like monthly favorites like other YouTubers, but there's a lot of things that I've been enjoying lately that I just kind of wanted to share with you guys, including that little seatbelt clip. That was one of the things on my list, but I'm hoping to kind of get back into a rhythm with creating my YouTube videos. I've missed it, even though there's just been a lot of stress and a lot going on. So I'm not making any promises, but I'm trying to be more regular, so bear with me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave your comments below, because you guys know I love hearing from you. And I'll catch up with you soon. Bye! Can y'all hear that? This is some kind of tree frog or katydid or locust. I'm not sure what it is. I'm looking outside my window. That squeal is so loud. I don't even have the window open. I'm afraid to think of what it would sound like with the window open.